We are here to talk about the effect of COVID on the music industry and how it's affecting different departments, different areas, artists, promoters, venues, tour managers. There's a whole list of people affected by it, and the trickle down and how the knock-on effect of the other industries and services that it affects. And I thought it would be interesting to chat to everyone involved and get your viewpoint, your take on it. I'm Noel, and I run an agency called Inside Out Talent. I work festivals and a bit of production, and with DJs and bands and corporate and universities all across the board. So again, I dip into all different areas. So been through the little black book and called up a few friends and thought I'd get in touch with them. So today I'm here with Will, otherwise known as 220 Kid. How you doing, Will?
I'm good, thanks. How's it going?
So yeah, how have you been? And introduce yourself a little bit and tell us about a brief history and what you're doing now. What's your current project?
Okay, so my history is I was in like a pop band, like duo. We were writing for ourselves, writing for other people as an independent act. And then I moved to London like 3 years ago. After working in the studio, I just never kind of went back to the countryside. I started just developing my own sort of, it's like a house music / pop music crossover kind of. Last year I got signed to Polydor and then brought out my first single in December 13th. And then over the last 7 months, we've been growing the release campaign to where we are now, which is like 9 in the charts. And yeah, the most of the explosion for the single came like the week of lockdown. The single like went. So I've been watching like a hit record happen from my bedroom. So that's kind of where it's at. We got like radio playlisted the week before the lockdown. So it's kind of like the very last moment to get playlisted through like pitching meetings and stuff. And then that's where we've been sat now. So yeah, I've been in this room, got my little studio corner.
It's a pretty unique place to be, I think, for your point of this whole thing, and coming, that release time and watching it grow and listening. I mean, literally just sitting there listening to the radio, I suppose. And radio's been very key for the record, I think, because everyone's at home, they have to listen to the radio, so the song's kind of been forced down their throats, to which is there. And it's been streamed really, really well and put on some good playlists. And because everyone's at home, they're listening to it, so it's kind of reacted really well. That's a point that's come up a couple of times, that because people are at home, there's two sides to it. Or people releasing records or not, or when to do it. Is it the right time? When is the right time? There probably isn't one at the moment. Do you think that's actually helped being at home?
Yeah, I think personally for my record, best thing could have happened was the lockdown. Because it was growing, it was doing good, and it was on playlists, but it hadn't had the big push it needed. Like, obviously, we're missing out on parties and like holiday destinations and like students drinking together and student parties. But in terms of getting like older audiences and like English housewives who download on iTunes, that's been a big market. There's now been reached because everyone's at home and they're listening to music. I think that's, for us, it's kind of made the record, where other people, it's kind of like a lot of dance records have failed because there's obviously nowhere to play them. Yeah. So yeah, for us it's been great.
Do you think it helps as well that you've been quite active on socials and you've done a few charity things? Has the fun stuff kind of linked in with the release stuff? And
I think we created like a mood around the record. There's like definitely a vibe that people have like connected with, in that it's both me and Gracie's first hit record, and we're very, some people are very cool, they try and play it cool about what's going on in their life, whereas we're like, it's amazing, it's going on. So everyone just like gets behind it and really pushes it. So like when we needed a push for the top 10, loads of people got behind it and did the last minute downloading, and that's, I think, because they generally were excited and have been enjoying the journey we've been on.
So that's the good side.
Yeah.
But surely, obviously there's numerous bad sides, but for you personally, has it actually affected you I mean, live wise, it would have done financially, or again, it's a different situation with you. This is why this is.
I don't really know any different because it's my first single, so I can't really compare it to anything. But the noticeable things that I've seen, obviously, I would have had shows, like brand work, endorsement work, doing like people-facing activities, like going on TV. So whether I was wearing a sponsored outfit, those kind of things, which we've missed out on, which we were working towards having, like brand work and brand endorsements. But now there's nowhere to do it. You can't do like photo shoots, or you can't do interviews. Or you can't. That's definitely been noticeable. And then, but even I suppose because now my production name has a good reputation, I've not been in the studio with people. So I've worked remotely and I've produced some great people from afar, but there's probably a lot less than I would have been doing.
What about people you're working with? So you work with different singers and different.
Yeah, I've kind of enjoyed it.
How are they affected? Have you seen how they've been affected?
So you have like producers who aren't artists. They've definitely been affected because their like income is from artists coming to the studio, writing and producing a song for them and sending them on their way. So that's definitely hurt a lot of people. And writers are definitely missing out because they might write like 200 songs a year and only a couple get cut. So now they have a lot less opportunities to write and get cut. Definitely, especially building the relationships with the artist. If you're in a room with an artist, you can probably kind of push your song through a bit more and write a better song than just on Zoom. No one's really liked Zoom sessions. So that's definitely killed that side of it.
So getting out live, obviously, is the biggest, one of the main things we're talking about at the moment. And there's lots of campaigns going on. So what did you have lined up? I think you spoke about Ibiza maybe.
Yeah, I would have had a season in Ibiza because the songs like would have connected well with that audience. Got like last minute, like full season festivals, even playing stuff probably because we're like the most played record on Capitol, so we would have done like their summertime ball, which would have been a great like platform to cement our brand. So just even like private events, stuff like that. Going out and going to music events or press events or different industry events would have helped like build the brand of what we're creating and putting a face out there and the connection. So that kind of like the knock-on effect, you just don't know like who you could have met at these events. But it just depends, like when the record's hot is kind of when you want to be doing stuff. So hope I just have to release another hot record for next year.
Easy. So about getting new music out. So are you working on new stuff, I assume, and how difficult is that? And are you back in the studio now?
I've been back twice now. You have like socially distanced sessions, which are, it's not the same, but yeah, I was actually, as soon as like lockdown happened, I built a studio at home, and because the record was blowing up, I've worked the whole time, like, and I just been composing. Like, it's quite a nice way to work. I just kind of compose stuff in my own time, send it out to writers or artists, and they send back their ideas, and then I've just been working on it. There's no pressure. And I can just work any time of day. I don't have to like commute to a studio, and then you only get a certain amount of time with an artist. It's just sort of, it's a much better, I think it's, for me, it's a much better creative way, like taking away the pressure and also like outside influence. So it's been a lot more organic.
So there's been loads of campaigns and stuff out there as well, saving venues and numerous people's livelihoods and stuff. Have you been involved in any of that stuff? I know you've been doing your own campaigns for all sorts of things and charities and stuff. Have you been, tell us a little bit about what you've been doing, and also if you've been involved in any of the sort of Save Our Venues kind of stuff.
Yesterday I was like working on some promotion for the Let the Music Play, which is just trying to make sure the government supports the arts and people involved in the arts and trying to save venues, which it seems like we're the only country who hasn't been investing in anyone in the live music industry or the creative arts as a whole. Like the amount of support money has been I think it's the lowest in Europe, whereas it's one of the highest for us, and the economy is one of the highest generating industries in the country. You see a lot of friends who, like, because of how they're employed, they work in the industry but they're self-employed and they haven't fallen into any financial support. So it's like one of my friends is an amazing producer and director, and he's worked on lots of big adverts and he's done loads of stuff, and now he's going to be a Deliveroo cyclist because he's like, I'm not eligible for any financial support, and that's just like flipped his career on its head. It's mad, because without the arts, without film or music, then what would anyone have done during isolation?
I think maybe part-time jobs are going to become more more prevalent. I think people
Definitely.
are speaking to Crosstown concerts, who's saying about it. So they manage a few artists as well as do tours and promotions.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that most of their artists have other jobs.
Yeah.
Especially now, if they've still got them now.
Yeah, which kills the creativity as well, because you don't have time to create because you're worrying about paying your bills or surviving.
Yeah.
So that's like, that's what I think London kind of is losing in a way. Its creative edge, because it's so expensive to be here that you just can't have, even just removing that stress to create art freely is not really possible.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to survive.
So what have you learned then? So in terms of how you work differently. So this has opened whole new avenues of how you work with people, and you got a bit more stuff set up at home now. So
yeah,
how has that changed for you in terms of your setup at home and how you can work going forward like that as well?
I think it takes away, because you always feel like you have to be busy. It's kind of like an English like pressure that you have to be seen to be hustling or seen to be working 24/7, and otherwise you're not doing good enough. Whereas actually, if you kind of work smarter, I think you can create something that's a lot better. Don't just do something for the sake of it. Like get up every day and commuting 2-hour round trips just to try and create a song or do a studio session is just not really a sustainable way of life. Whereas now it's like, if I have an idea, I'll walk over to this part of my room and sit down and do it, but I'm not going to pressure myself to do it. I don't have to like answer to anyone while I'm at home. Whereas in the studio, there's kind of like a pressure, which in like the sessions I've been going back, kind of I walk in and people treat me different because I've had like, obviously had a hit record now, and they expect to hit record if we're working. Whereas if I'm at home by myself, no one can expect anything apart from what I want to expect from myself and what I want to create. Yeah. So that's I prefer it. Takes away the pressure.
So do you think that will continue, or do you think we will revert to where we were before?
I'm not sure. I've talked to a lot of people and they're not going back to 5 days a week writing sessions. I've told my management I'm not going to do lots of sessions. I'm just going to work with who I kind of feel comfortable working with, and it's not a sustainable way of living at all. So I think it's a good thing to come from it. People like more like a self-care, really, not burning themselves out.
That sounds, I mean, you're really in a unique position there, and I think discovered some real good sides to it. What are those charity things you've been doing then?
I cycled on a spin bike for 22 hours to raise 22,000 meals for Fair Share, which is the charity that Marcus Rashford was supporting for vulnerable people in the UK.
Brilliant. And you succeeded.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mad one, but it was good. I enjoyed it. I don't know how. But...
So about new music, if new artists are getting out, if there's no festivals and no touring, but what about next year when people can't get out and tour and stuff and perform live? Maybe that might not affect you too much, but how do you think new music will be received or launched? Will that change in the future, do you think?
I think the mood of the music might change. Like, there's like 2 types of music that are doing really well now, which is like uplifting songs because people need to be uplifted. But then there's also like more angry music is doing well, something with a bit more aggression in it because people are frustrated, so they want to hear that to take their aggression out. I was chatting to my label yesterday, and they said like when lockdown happened, house music went through the roof with new releases because everyone was working out at home. So kind of like it follows like people's behavioural patterns. It's quite interesting. So I guess whatever the mood of people is over the coming months, that might dictate what kind of music's succeeding. And then if those artists are succeeding, they'll keep making that kind of music, and other genres might fall away a little bit. So those artists might struggle a bit more. Yeah,
and it is big things in cultural changes in life that create waves of new music and new artists. Do you think we'll find new artists coming out of this as well?
Definitely. But people would probably start writing music who didn't have the confidence to write before. Now they've got a reason to write. And they'll be the people who won't have been like sculpted or like crafted in songwriting. So they'll make something that's a bit fresh and a bit different and not contained. So I feel like that could be quite exciting. And as it's so easy to put out music independently now, you never know what will connect.
Have you been asked to do lots of online stuff, lots of streaming things?
I've done a few interviews. I did a few events, like even like Minecraft, the computer games, made like a pixelated version of me to do a DJ set.
Sweet.
Which is a bit mad. And I'm doing a show for TikTok where I'm going to the Village Underground, and they're going to like film the whole thing and project it out across to different parts of their company. And I think people can dial back in.
What was the what's the thing you did with the drone?
Oh yeah, that was for a charity gig. So that was with Clean Bandit, where they were at their one house and I was at another house. So we filmed the drone between the two DJ sets. So that was pretty cool.
So that wouldn't have happened without lockdown, would it?
No, not at all. No way would have come up with that about lockdown. Apart from they're pretty mad. They have like 8 camera setups and 4 drones just at home. So maybe they would have done it at some point.
And that works really well, I assume.
Yeah, it went down really well. Just gave some people like something different to watch. Everyone just wanted to like have something to enjoy, and I pretended to play the accordion. That's something I've noticed about like for me with my promotions is if you can make people laugh or make them feel a bit lighthearted, then it connects a lot better.
So you haven't been asked to do anything, any live stuff yet?
What,
like
for gigs? Oh yeah, I've booked some festivals for next year, so we'll see if they happen or not.
Yeah. So what's your timescale on those then? So you've actually got stuff in the diary for next summer?
Yeah. People are announcing their lineups already because obviously they're trying to save their industry. So they're trying to get some ticket sales in. So they're doing their lineups, they're announcing them, they're moving forward. Some places in America started doing shows already, but I think they've locked those down already. Socially distanced festivals have just been announced today. I saw in around Newcastle, and they got in these fields, they've converted these little like pens and stuff. But
there's all the drive-in ones, so cinemas and comedy, and there's a few gigs now as well. So there's what's your opinion on those? What do you think? I mean, it's about a vibe. It's about being there with enjoying it with other people and stuff. So
I think I prefer it if you're just like with the people you're like really tight with in your like little area and not getting bumped into. There's probably a lot less aggression. Yeah. But even if they don't like make a profit, but they just like help sustain the industry until we can like find a solution that does make a big profit to get the industry back on its feet, then I think that's a great thing, and people should definitely support it. And people just want to be cheered up, I think. So it doesn't matter if you're in a packed crowd or a spaced out crowd. If you can see a band play, it's still amazing.
I think it's different for live music as well. When you try to watch a band or a DJ set, may be different. Like saying, I like that point about if you're with your sort of close knit community. And actually, it might be a nicer environment. I think people just want something to go to. They want to get out there. So even if it's a temporary fix, it's a nice one to get the ball rolling again. It's probably not financially sustainable, I'd imagine.
No.
And the English weather will catch up on us soon as well. So we'll have to move back indoors at some point. Have you got an official live date booked in, or have you had 3 rearranged already?
No, I hadn't really got that far. I'm releasing another song in August, and I think we'll look at live then. We wanted to do like a headline run at the end of the year, but I don't know. We're kind of like back to the drawing board and see what's happening. But if it'd been like, if unis were about, like we would have been doing the freshers, obviously, I think, because it's kind of that kind of song. But I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. The
uni scene is quite an important one. Those summer balls and Freshers Week stuff is it's going to be a shame. I think a lot of them are still holding on for some form of entertainment. So that something might materialise. I don't know what it's going to look like, whether it's specific. Again, this is the sort of ideas we're looking for, things that might help people come up with ideas or ways to do things. So quick, get writing down some. you need to come and save the day. Whether it might be that your students can only log into this specific event, so maybe they get a private show. It might be streamed and online, but they can only go in and see you. Yeah,
the Zoom DJ sets are quite fun actually. Sometimes, like when I was doing my bike ride, Majestic did me a DJ party. You got there's 50 people in there from all around the country. And because I had my little setup at home, my lights and things, was pretty fun. So I guess if you're a student, if someone like designed like a little pack that was like, you could use it for the terms if you had like some disco lights or like a smoke machine or stuff, and then you set that up at home, and then you had your Zoom running. If you're with your housemates, like 6 of you, you'd have a great time, because I think that for a lot of people, the pre-drinks at home is better than the nightclub. So you might as well log in and not have to queue up, get caught out in the cold, or deal with any aggro.
There may be a bunch of empty venues now that you can actually go into and film stuff, and
that'd be awesome.
And then stream it out there. And maybe this might be something that sits side by side now, so it becomes more of a regular thing, that most gigs or DJ sets will have a live stream going out as well, and it potentially that helps you reach more people.
Yeah, you definitely reach people you weren't necessarily reach before. Like with that Clean Bandit thing, that was an event across America, so that helped me tap into an audience out there that I would have had to travel around America touring to reach those people. So
have you seen any other creative things out there that people have been doing?
Yeah, just like different themed DJ sets. Like I think Snake Hips built like a beehive and they're dressed as beekeepers DJing in it. Stuff like just weird stuff. Or JC Stewart went round, he picked names out of a hat of his fans and went and performed on their doorsteps for them, which was really nice. So it's good for a community feel, a lot of this stuff. Like it's brought people closer, and I think artists are taking a lot more time to build personal relationships with their fans, because it's more important than ever now. And they've got more time to be on their social media. So,
but this is what it's about. It's keeping it fresh and coming up with new ideas and ways to do things. Yeah. And
it's fun.
Hopefully, more will come out of this, and it will open new doors for people. And do you know anyone who's really been impacted badly by it?
Yeah, even I think like Gracie, who's on my song, she was that was like meant to be her push through to stardom, and she booked in her own headline tour, like a big one. She's supporting Becky Hill on tour. She had some festivals, and that connection with the song, then to put her face out there more would have been. And she spent all last year off with a vocal surgery, so this was like her comeback. This is like, for her psychologically, it was a really important time. And for me, when I was growing up in Tame, like going to the rock nights in Chin, there was a massive part of wanting to be an artist and wanting to be in music, because I'd be part of this community, and you'd see people, and you like, even like the local bands where those artists were known around the area, like, wow, I'd love to be in the music. And like, it helped me like start experimenting with music or developing my interest for it. And those bands couldn't play, they didn't have like the local cheap rehearsal spaces, and then that knock-on effect kind of would take away. So now, say that because that rehearsal space is shut down, some bands can't practice, so maybe they won't put on a gig next year, and then maybe the next me won't be inspired to go make music in the future. So that's the knock-on effect, which is really a shame.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. Yeah, inspiration, that that hasn't come up much, actually. That's a good one. That people are inspired by watching things, aren't they? And you could trail through the internet as long as you like, but you might not find that thing that sparks it with you. But when you turn a corner and walk into a festival stage or
exactly. I remember, like, specifically for me, my first ever house music festival was 10 years ago at Eastern Electrics, and I watched Hot Natured, who were a house act, but they had a band and they were playing. And I remember saying to my mate, I was like, I want to do this. I know I can do this. And I'd never done music properly. And so I went away, and now my mix engineer, he wrote the Hot Natured stuff and mixed it. So it's kind of like how it's come full circle, being inspired by that music, and now we collaborate on stuff. And it's like, those moments are so powerful to you, especially as an artist, when you're like, wow, that's what it can be. That's where I want to go. But if those events aren't on, then it's not going to inspire me. There's nothing there.
Yeah, hopefully it'll open more, the online stuff will open more avenues for people. I think there'll be some more streaming stuff going out soon. People are working on recording live bands on a stage, but then streaming it out. So that's, so far we've only seen the DJ sets or people strumming an acoustic guitar in their bedroom, sort of stuff. Yeah. So now there's facilities and people doing proper bigger productions that you can actually tune into and watch. So new releases will get out there and look polished and stuff. And hopefully this will spur something on and inspire. I love the angle of just being inspired by watching something at least that might open a few doors for that.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll all be back in a venue soon and
having a beer.
And forget about the DJ sets. It's just
yeah.
When you do get back out live, what will your show look like?
I've got two avenues. Obviously, the DJ side, which would be pretty basic, but then at the moment I'm building, and this has been actually really nice. I met a drummer the other day, moved over from Northern Ireland he had session gigs ready to like take his career on the next level, and they all got cancelled. So he moved here, and he doesn't get any financial support, and he was like, I'm stuck. And then now we're going to go in and build a live show. So I'm going to have like a key set up for me. He's going to be on the drums area, going to have a vocalist, and then I'll also have my guitar. And then we're going to try and build like a visual story around my branding and all in the screen and the visuals behind. Just try and make something that I've always said since like my old band days is like, if someone comes to see a show for an hour, you want them to forget the world for like that hour and take them on a journey where it's through highs and lows, and just make them feel and it's connect with them emotionally, I think, and just leave them feeling like, wow, that was something special. So just because I make house music doesn't mean I'm just going to play back a DJ set. I actually want to play it. And
so the live element is a big thing for you as well.
Yeah, very important. I think if people are paying to see you, need to give them everything and entertain them and show them like the reason why you wrote the song. Like you wrote the song in a live situation, so you want to try and convey that back to them, and hopefully they'll connect with the feeling you had when you were writing it.
Yeah, brilliant. So final words of wisdom, Will. Let it be. I'm not asking you to save the world, but any other ideas or inspiration that
I guess just keep going, isn't it? It's if you don't give up, eventually you will always have to succeed. I think that's someone told me that before. Is like if you never give up, then eventually your moment, whether it's there's like a young writer watching or there's someone who's trying to break through into a part of the industry, or just hold on to the part of their career they had before the lockdown, is as long as you can find a way to keep going, then eventually it'll come back round and you'll get to where you want to be.
Yours is a good example of what you can achieve.
Exactly. Met so many setbacks. I've played gigs to like one person and thought about quitting, but never quit. And now I'm glad I didn't. So,
well, I'm glad that the lockdown has benefited you.
Thank you.
In some ways, and almost created a springboard for your next projects and what's coming.
Thank you.
So excited to see what's around the corner. And so thank you very much again, Will, for doing this. I hope it's sent a message to a number of people, and hope we'll see you out again soon, and all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you.